All right. Let's have a look at TRVL now. There's a lot of interest in TRVL. So let's have a look and see what TRVL is saying to us today. Let me get rid of all of this stuff. I can delete all that now. Gosh. It's there. I'll put that into my Wyckoff and hide that. All right. So I'm looking at the MEXC chart. Oh God. So I actually haven't looked at this chart today. And there's a few things I wanted to share with you because I was looking at it last night as we formed this kind of up. Please update. Well, VIA is doing well, isn't it, Majid? You saw the trade. But I'll go and have a look at it. I don't mind doing VIA. Let's just finish TRVL. Good morning, by the way. So a few things to note. And the first thing is that this hidden bullish divergence was basically exactly as predicted. Yeah. So I think we should bear that in mind. That was quite a good spot. And also, I did have the idea of the price coming into some kind of back test of some sort of flat top triangle type breakout. But it's not very clear on this. It's actually a lot clearer on the other exchanges. So if you go to KuCoin, it's a lot easier to see. And let me show you. So you have that. And then you have kind of this. See that? So you have this kind of flat top triangle breakout. And then we had the back test. It was a good place to accumulate for another push up. That corresponded very nicely to our hidden bullish divergence, which was showing on the MACD. And I did explain that when it did it before, here to here and here to here, we had the same kind of whoop, and we've kind of continued that behavior. So that was quite good. Now, when I'm looking at, delete these. Now, just bear in mind that MACD divergences work on both sides of the scale. You can see bullish divergences, you can see bearish divergences. Now, the strong divergences which I explained are the ones that I explained in my previous video, where the price is higher and the MACD is lower. That's the strong one. That's the one that you can easily trade. Yeah. The one where the price is lower, I'll show you. Can I show you? I can show you. I'll show you in this downtrend. See, look here, the price is lower and the MACD is higher. It's bullish divergence, but it's not the same. It doesn't have the same effect. So one of them is really good and the other one is kind of meh. And just bear that in mind. So you kind of want the price to always be higher. That's the bullish one. When you have the price lower, this tells me it's still good, but it might continue going down. That's the problem with this one. And also, it's basically telling you that it's more lack of participation, not necessarily tells you that the volume is being absorbed. What you want to trade is the absorption. Absorption is what you want because you want the sellers to be absorbed, and lack of participation is harder to catch. It takes a lot of time to see when a good time to trade it is. So in the same sense, if we make a higher price now and the MACD is lower, see, that's bearish divergence. That would be bearish divergence. Okay. But again, it's the weak form of bearish divergence, not the strong form of bearish divergence. The strong form of bearish divergence, the one that you don't want to see, is if you get the MACD going up to make a higher MACD and the price still being lower. That's the strong bearish divergence. That means that the upward price is being absorbed because you're making a lower high. Yeah, whereas the MACD is making a higher high. Yeah. So just bear this in mind. There's one form of divergence which is really strong, and the other form isn't so strong. And so it doesn't, this one that I'm seeing now on the bearish side, I'm not really paying much attention to it because all I'm seeing is lack of participants in selling. Doesn't mean anything really, because the price could still just keep on going up and up and up. There's lack of participants in selling. It just means there aren't as many sellers at this price. And maybe because there's an upward trend forming, when the price was going down here, there was a lack of buyers. Yeah. So it's just something to bear in mind. What you really want to see is the bullish divergences at the low, which give you the right indications, which is that the price is being absorbed. So that's something to bear in mind. So if we go back to my MEXC chart, and I can delete this line now. So a couple of things that I had in my mind. Firstly, I was looking at this line chart on the higher time frame, and I was really looking higher time frame, and I was looking at all of the charts, actually, this line chart. And sometimes it's good to just look at different charts. You might get a different kind of perspective. And then I saw that all of them had this kind of peculiar trend line. They all have their kind of like inaccuracies. So it's not exact. Okay. I'll try and make it as exact as possible, but we are talking higher time frame. And you see right now, so we have this kind of unusual higher time frame line where the price is clearly offered support off this line here, lost it, back test once, twice, 3 times. I would class that as a back test, 4 times. And now we're coming into that line for the 5th time. All right. So is it a good time to sell? Technically, no. The reason why it's not a good time to sell is because you have a higher time frame line that now is being tested for the 5th time. Usually with these higher time frame lines, you will take the 3rd test, the 3rd one. Yeah, usually. That's where you're going to get the most response. And so I didn't have this before. I mean, like, these things it's so easy to see these things in hindsight. It's a lot harder to see them as it's happening, and I wasn't paying attention because I wasn't looking at the line chart. But obviously what you can see is that that was the right one. That was the right one to take. And that went up to, according to this, 5.7. Now, this is a 3-day line chart. So actually we know that the price went much higher. So you probably couldn't have traded this because it's a 3-day line chart. You would have had to zoom in. Yeah. And it still doesn't go to where the price went to. So anyway, what's interesting is that on all of the exchanges, when I look at all of them, we're basically at the same point. They're all saying the same thing. Get rid of this now. Like these, and that one. Right. Let me just show you this one on Gate, just so that you see that this is really interesting because they're all saying the same thing. I think it's interesting. See that? They're all saying the same thing. So we're at a really important moment in the price for this token now. We're in a very important period. This could go potentially, I don't think this is crazy bearish to be back into another, to be back into a line for the 5th time, I think is bullish. But we need to break that line, and then we need to back test that line too. Now, if we break it, we may break it, but it would be nice to back test it. That would be nice. It would be nice to flip it into support, just like here. It found support before it became resistance. I wouldn't mind if it did that to go back up. I wouldn't mind. And so we have to see how that plays out. There's something really interesting. Whatever happens, I think we need volume to get through that line. That's going to give people confidence about the break. So Gate isn't really showing good volume. Let me have a look at Max. Yeah, I do feel like we need a little bit of volume to get through that line. Now, if we don't break it, for whatever reason, it's possible. I can't predict the future. And what could possibly happen is you get a failed auction. Something like that could happen. Then you're probably looking for more like something like that. Probably. And we have to see how this plays out. I don't know how it will play out. Let's just say that's also possible. I think if that was to happen, it'll be a lot easier to break, just simply because you're then trying to break it at a lower price after coming down to pick up a lot of liquidity, which is lying lower down, which has been untapped. Excuse me. Just bear that in mind. There's a few things that could happen here. I think everyone wants a clean break with volume. That's going to be everyone's dream. And I think that's going to give everyone the kind of the peace of mind with this token right now, which some people don't have. Now that I've drawn that line, I've nicely lined that line up. Hold on. Let me just connect it properly. Let me connect it properly to these. What I usually do with these trend lines, just so that you know, is I usually take the last 2 points. Even though it might match correctly, I usually just take the most recent data. Even though it might line up better in the highs, I usually then just readjust it. Once I've seen the line is in place, what I usually do is just readjust it with the latest data, just because I think that's more relevant. Although technically, you see it, I think that was front run, but you know, it's all a little bit subjective too. Then if I go back to the candles, it's amazing how like the close was on that line. Or maybe I should take it to the, actually I think the KuCoin one is better. So let me go to the KuCoin one and let me just have a look at it on KuCoin. So I think I was doing it on KuCoin. So sorry, let me just try this one more time. No, the KuCoin one isn't better. It's shit. Which one is the best one? No, not Gate. Maybe Mex or Bybit. Let me have a look at Bybit. Oh, it's the 3-day chart. That's why. I'm such an idiot. I was looking at the 3-day chart. Yeah, it's the 3-day chart. Let me have a look at the 3-day chart. I'm not sure which one is the best one. Have a look at that. Let's go back to Mex. Sorry, this is taking a little bit of time. I'm just trying to figure this out. It's not easy. Majid is asking, what is the expected target? I bought in at 3. At 3. Do you mean for TRVL or for something else? Did you mean you bought in at 3 cents? Dude, if you bought in at 3 cents, you're laughing. Literally laughing. Well done. I'm going to tell you the targets now. So let me just line this up again. Hold on, guys. Give me a second. I go to the lower time frame on the candles. So you can see, if I go back to candles, it's interesting that we kind of closed almost on the above the line, but not like right at the line. And I don't know, it's quite I find it quite fascinating the way these things line up. And look, you see that? And these are the candles now. See kind of how that's the same line that I had drawn on the other chart, the line chart. And it's quite fascinating how you have a back test and it's the same line, that same line. And then here earlier on in April, look, it's the same line. See that? You have like a resistance and then support and then back test, resistance, and then going all the way back. So there is something going on here, and you can't actually draw that line on the candle chart. You have to go to the line chart to draw that line. Sorry, excuse me. So anyway, we're coming into that line again, and these trend lines are very subjective, and also I never trade them because for me horizontal lines are more important, but it's just something to kind of bear in mind. I think it's going to be a massive achievement for us to get above there and flip it. I think that's going to be a massive achievement, and I'm hoping that that happens. Realistically, for me, the way I trade or the way I perceive the charts are level to level, horizontal level to level, and also the reclaiming of previous ranges or losing previous ranges. So I think I've said this before. I think this range here, because it was such a long time, I think this range is really important for me. And the actual level is higher up. So really what I want to see is I want to see the price find acceptance into this price range. And because this price range was maybe 4 or 5 months, if you include the first part, I think that's going to be really important for psychologically for people who are in this token, because that was a significant period of time early on in the token's history during the bear market. And if we now in the beginnings of the bull market are able to flip this higher time frame trend line into support and reclaim a previous volume area, previous value area, and start putting volume back up there, then I think this is going to look really healthy, like really super healthy. It's kind of what I want. All right. And so we just have to see what happens. As always, I say let's see what happens. I don't know. Looking at the current price action though, this is on MEX. We have a nice amount of buying. Look at that. These are market buys. See those? See the wicks on top? It means people are market buying. Market buy, market buy, market buy. So someone is actually just buying quite a large amount of tokens now. 87,000, 42,000, 37,000, 49,000 in the highs of this range. And that was on MEX. Gate is just following the price. Little bots are doing their jobs, but that candle was quite a, there was a little bit of a, where was it? There. This candle here, that was a market buy, 133,000 tokens. This is the KuCoin one with that line. So you can see on the KuCoin chart that we are actually now potentially back above the line, that line that I had. So that's quite exciting potential. So the charts are actually slightly off, but on different exchanges, but we'll just knock them down one by one. And KuCoin is not showing the most volume. Oh, actually, look, you see that green candle? That's 163,000. That was a market buy. So we're getting quite good volume at these prices at the moment. And that's what you want. You want people to believe that this is a good price. And so when you see good volume coming at these prices, that's going to give people more confidence. Let me have a look at Bybit as well. That's another market buy. That's a big market buy. And that's quite large for Bybit. That's 198,000. And that was a little bit of a sell, 76,000, but you see the price is still there. So there was limit orders as well to absorb that. And then this move up had 159,000. That's quite a lot in the highs, 198,000. That takes liquidity. Those market buys clears the liquidity from limit orders who have put sell orders in those highs. And that's kind of what you want to see. You want to see the liquidity taken, and then you want to see the price to consolidate in the highs for the next kind of potentially for the next move. The other thing I wanted to show you just quickly. So if I imagine, if I go back to the line chart on the 3-day range on KuCoin, because that's why I was doing it. And so I was just thinking to myself, if we do break out, what would be the potential target of this? Because this is a significant, like, this is a significant line. Don't think this is insignificant. We're basically looking at a higher time frame trend line, which is aligning on all of the exchanges at the same time we're coming back into it. So if we do break this, it should be easy to see what our targets are. And this goes to Majid's question. So what I was thinking to myself is what I want, that the initial target for me would be from this low here to this high here. Like that's the kind of the extent of the range, right? That's like you want the same mirrored. So that's why, unless anyone has any other kind of offers any kind of insight into this that I don't know, I was thinking like that. That's kind of what I'm imagining. So if we do get a breakout, potentially, now I don't know, I think you'd want it from the back test. I don't know where the back test is going to be. So we have to see where it really breaks out, but potentially from the current price, if you take the same distance to there, potentially we're looking at about, this takes us to about 25 cents. I mean, this is the 3-day chart. It's very rough, but we have a bit of a target there. So if basically what I'm saying is you draw a line from there to there, and you just do that. And then, I don't know, maybe it back tests it a bit lower. So you get a slightly lower target. Now that's kind of what I'm imagining, potentially. So whatever the extent of this is, I'm thinking that will be, it's kind of like this. Done. I don't know. I don't know. I don't usually trade with lines, so I don't know. Or maybe an extension. Maybe an extension of this. Yeah, see, that takes us to a good target, I think. See that? So actually, maybe that's what you want to do. If I go back to the candle chart, which is, I prefer that. I'll keep that line as a reference line. And if I go from the tip to the toe, you see this kind of gives us slightly higher targets on the fib extension. I actually don't mind that so much because on MEX, it lines up really nicely. I'll show you. So MEX is my chart of choice simply because of the values are correct from the highs to the lows, and that would, I think that would be better. And then also the other thing that you can do is you can do a fib retracement. So you see that there's really strong resistance. Can you see that? There's really strong resistance at about 30 cents. Because that's the golden pocket of the overall range. There. And on this extension, this fib extension, from here, from this high to this low, you're quite well extended. You're into the 1414, which is coming in about 31 cents. Now, that's going to be quite major resistance, so just bear that in mind. And actually, the fib extension, you're going to start hitting real resistance a little bit lower at this first fib extension level that I have of 1.272. Something about fibs is you just can't ignore them. You just don't ignore them. And fibs work. They're magical numbers. They work for selling and they work for buying. So just bear that in mind. So if I start giving you these numbers, don't ignore them. Like, make a note of them. But Majid, what I need to do before I personally am looking to take some sort of profit is I need to see an impulsive wave. I haven't seen that yet. And I'm not going to sell before I see an impulsive wave, because I am still thinking that I want to see 5 waves. I want to see a wave 1, which is impulsive, a corrective wave, which is a wave 2, a third wave, which is impulsive, a wave 4, which is corrective, and a wave 5, which is impulsive. I'm looking for 3 impulsive waves and 2 corrective waves. So unless I see that, I'm not going to be taking profit. Okay. And the impulsive wave is going to be impulsive. Yeah. So I'll give you an idea of what I'm looking for an impulsive wave. Do you see this move from here to here? That was impulsive. Yeah. just non-stop buying, continuous buying. No one was really selling, and people who were selling, the buying overcame the volume of the selling. I'm looking for impulse. And if we do get this kind of move up to there, from here, look, it's going to put us right into the golden pocket. So I am actually looking for the golden pocket as my first target, but you have to see how the price reacts at certain levels. And I've shown before that I have in mind some other kind of ideas. Like I have this channel. And a key kind of level is this previous high here. See that? I think you have to see what happens when the price takes that high and then how far it goes. Because if you come into the 50% and find resistance, then you just may not have enough oomph to go further, and that doesn't matter. So I just want to see how the price reacts. Like I would be thinking the first area of interest will be potentially this imaginary channel that I've drawn, this green one. See that? And that in the current time frame would put the price at about 20 cents. But you know, like who knows? Like I'm not going to just take profit if I see crazy impulse. Honestly, I'm not going to just create, I'm not just going to, it's like catching a falling knife. You don't catch a falling knife. It's the same thing for going up. The price is impulsing up. You don't just sell into that, hoping that this is the right level. You wait. Yeah, and we haven't seen an impulse yet. And if I look at the previous impulse, we have had one impulse. Look, this is the 3-day chart. And look, it impulsed, and then there was plenty of time in the highs to see the price turning to take profit. You see that? There was plenty of time. So the range from the top to the bottom, okay, it was 36%. It wasn't a small range, but like it was a range. And you could see from these candles, like maybe the first indication here could have been this doji. And this second doji for sure. The second doji was pretty bearish. This second doji was quite bearish. After the first doji form was quite bearish. And what happened is the price came back into that level 6 days later. So there was plenty of opportunity to exit at those highs. And that was only 22% from the highs. So you might not catch the top if you wait. But then you don't have to catch a falling knife or the reverse of a falling knife, which is try to catch a rising explosion or whatever. And so this was the explosion. So if you're like, when do you take profit on this rise? You know, like when do you take profit? Do you take profit here? Where do you take profit? So you have to wait for it to hit higher time frame levels. You have to wait for it to settle and to find resistance. And hopefully that is going to happen at the right place. Hi, Cactus Cake. How are you? Good morning. Never seen you before, but welcome. So Cactus Cake is asking, do you think people will buy meme coins again once everyone else sees Bitcoin run to the all-time highs? Maybe Pepe is a buy again. Excuse me 1 second. I think when Bitcoin is in price discovery and showing extreme strength, and then you have this capital rotation back into the altcoins just because Bitcoin is still strong, most coins will pump. simply because then you're going to get retail jump into the market. And what retail tends to do is rather than buy just Bitcoin, they'll also start throwing their money at all coins, literally all coins. And it's like a gambling fest. People will go into this kind of gambling mode. And what they'll do is they'll try and fill their bags as quickly as, it'll be a race to fill their bags as quickly as possible. And I think most coins, all coins will pump. Now, the question is, do coins pump and then dump, or do coins pump and then continue? That's the real question. And that's going to be largely dependent upon the past and upon the momentum and upon the projects and as well, and what they're doing to support the price in terms of partnerships and bullish news and developments with the products that they're developing and all that kind of stuff. There's a lot of things that go into sustaining the price in a bull market when the price is rallying. And with meme coins, generally speaking, it's just pump and dump. Basically, it's just pump and dump. It's just a complete craze for a short period of time, 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks, where you're just going to get people going crazy. And a lot of people will get burned because most people will come in at the highs, hoping for their 2x, not realizing that most people who have been in it from the beginning are already sitting on 100x or 50x, and they're nicely taking profits into the retail mania. They're the ones who come in to buy up the sales. Yeah. And so what happened with SHIB last time in the bull market is that people were sitting on large amounts of profit because they entered basically at the beginning. They weren't able to extract all of their profit because there just wasn't enough liquidity to do that. The price, they basically, the retail came and they just bought up all of the whales sell orders. I think it's very likely that most coins will pump. You just have to take profit. Yeah, with those meme coins, you just have to take profit. I think with something like TRVL, it's slightly different. It's different because it's a, and this is what people like, this is the other revelation that I have about TRVL. And I don't think people realize like the future of what's happening in this world, in this universe. So what's happened is now the world, the real world, the value is now transferring to this digital world. And that's now becoming to be underpinned by the idea of the value being stored on the blockchain, crypto. Yeah, so that's starting to take over the narrative. And so what's happening in this new concept of Web3, you have the formation of DAOs, decentralized autonomous organizations. And what Dtravel is, it's a DAO. It's a DAO, and it's creating this decentralized application which has a real world use case, a real world purpose. So basically it's Airbnb, but decentralized, and it's in the blockchain. It's in the Web3 universe. Yeah. Dtravel is going to now exist forever. Basically, it's the beginning of forever, effectively. And it's going to be managed and run and governed by the DAO, which is going to be controlled and owned by the owners of the token, TRVL. And the reason why it's forever is because it serves a real world use case, which is needed forever, the rental of properties. In the short term, we're considering vacation rentals. In the long term, that can iterate to anything, really. The application could be used for anything which requires some kind of rental, potentially. And it could even be short term, it could extend into long term or other forms of use case. So we are really at the beginning, and the great thing about Dtravel is it's all Web3, it's on the blockchain, and the contracts are peer-to-peer, so Dtravel isn't involved in that. I think this is now the beginning of something that is perpetual, it's going to last forever, effectively. And what's interesting about Dtravel is that the token holders are growing. And now we're at a slow growth curve, but eventually it's going to speed up and speed up and speed up. It's going to become exponential. Yeah. So every new person who is listing their property on Dtravel is a future token holder, is a future owner of this project and of this ecosystem. And this is only just the beginning. And so when I'm there looking at the Telegram group and seeing new properties coming online, new listings coming on, and don't forget, these are property owners. These property owners have capital. They're not poor people. They own properties. And so I think this is the beginning of something really big, and it's perpetual. And I don't think anything is going to be able to destroy Dtravel ever, because it's decentralized and it's in the web and it's a DAO. So DAOs are going to take over in the future, basically. That's what I'm suggesting. DAOs are the future of the way applications will be run and governed. And this is the beginning of something which has the potential to disrupt travel. And it's basically the travel in a decentralized Web3 format, which is the future, which is the next iteration. It's kind of like Bitcoin was for store of value in terms of the gold idea, the gold kind of narrative that they developed, digital currency or digital store of value and transactions. Hold on a second. Hi, sorry about that. I had a phone call. So yeah, so I think this is the future of something, and I think we have to contemplate a new iteration of what is happening and what is going to happen in the future. DAOs are the future, and this application is the beginning of something. And I think AI application that's being developed is the first step to something else which it can evolve into down the line. And so when it comes to this price action, I mean, right now what I'm seeing is the end of the downtrend and the beginning of a new uptrend. And that's what I've been talking about. This golden cross signified the end of the downtrend, the beginning of an uptrend. And, you know, these changes and trends can last for a very long time. Like, we just don't know how long now. This could be the beginning of infinity, potentially. We just don't know. And the same thing is happening to Bitcoin. So right now, when I'm looking at the Bitcoin chart, let me just get rid of these brush strokes. Oh, this is nice. Look, see how the price is just pumped right back off the value area low, and it's above the golden cross. So that's quite interesting. And on the Bitcoin chart, we have just seen a golden cross, and this potentially is the beginning of a new trend. Potentially, this is what I'm seeing right now. Yeah, and I think once this project grows in value and once it becomes more and more known and recognized, just wait and see what happens. You know, just wait and see, because right now what I'm seeing is like a lot of adoption on Dtravel. Like, a lot of people are coming over from Airbnb, from VRBO, from booking.com. A lot of these people have no idea about crypto. They just see the application and they know the application works, or it's working, and it's a really good application and it's free to use. The cost is only 3% of the transactions, and that's returned to them anyway in terms of in TRVL value. So it's free, basically. Just wait until these people start understanding crypto, and then wait until we develop the tokenomics so that people actually find use case, real use case for TRVL. Because right now TRVL, the main function of TRVL is the idea of governance, but this is changing, and so we just have to wait for that to take shape and to take form. All right, I think that's my TRVL update. I'm gonna move on to some more questions about some other stuff.